ever met a person who tries connecting to you for a very long time and suddenly they just stop without any excuse or explanation? They leave you wondering if you did something wrong. Have you ever met someone who you look at them and you can't understand if they're happy, mad, sad, or calm? Well, these are symptoms of BPD. There are many more symptoms and you can never diagnose a person without professional opinion. People with BPD feel like they're on a roller coaster because they usually have unstable relationships and emotion, a wavering sense of who they are, varying goals, and their likes, dislikes, and self-image changes frequently. They're extremely sensitive and small things can trigger intense reactions, and once they're upset, they have problem calming down. Unstable emotions and relationships leave them feeling empty and insecure in a relationship. They tend to lash out and make impulsive gestures to keep the other person close. BPD usually co-occurs with NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. 2% of the population is diagnosed with BPD. It might seem like a small number, but it's actually more than 4 million people just in US alone. Most people with BPD have triggers that is particular events or situation that intensifies their symptoms. BPD triggers can vary from person to person, but there are some types of triggers that are more common. But first, let me define trigger. You may have heard of the term trigger before, but you're not exactly sure what it means. Usually a trigger refers to some event that brings on major exacerbation of the disorder's symptoms. This event can be external, as in something that happens outside your body, or internal, as in something that happens inside your mind, like a thought or memory. Immediately following a trigger, some of the BPD symptoms may intensify significantly. We have different types of triggers, like cognitive triggers and relationship triggers. Relationship triggers are the most common triggers. Many people with BPD experience intense fear, anger, impulsiveness, urges to self-harm, and even suicidality in relationships that they feel insecure in. They may feel rejected, criticized, or abandoned. For example, they may leave a man, she must be bad, and these thoughts grow into something bigger, like she hates me, or I will never have a friend who sticks by my side. Well, with these thoughts, the symptoms start showing, like intense emotions, anger, and urges to self-harm. Cognitive triggers. Sometimes they may be triggered with internal events such as thought or memory. That is particularly for people who have BPD related to traumatic events such as child abuse. What should we do if we know someone with BPD? The first thing you can do is to learn about their illness. It can be a confusing diagnosis and there are many misconceptions about what they're going through. Educating yourself can help you gain a clear understanding of what they're going through. People with BPD experience intense emotions that people without the disorder can't relate to. Second thing you can do is to simplify your message. Depending on their current state, they can easily twist an innocuous statement into an attack, even if it's the furthest thing from what you meant. To minimize the risk of this happening, Randy Kreger suggests when speaking with a person who has BPD, especially about sensitive topics, make each sentence short, simple, and direct. The third thing you can do is encouraging responsibility. This doesn't mean leaving them alone to cope with their illness, but it does mean resisting the urge to rescue them from the consequences of their own actions. Boundaries is also helpful because it can give a sense of structure and it encourages the person with BPD to be accountable for their choices. Do not ignore threats of suicide and self-harm. But the most important thing you can do is to seek professional treatment. Learning how to cope with BPD is not easy, and it's important to make sure your own needs and feelings don't get lost on your way to help your loved one. Remember, take time for yourself and take care of your mind, body, and spirit.